Hello there, I'm Joe Ruggiero, and welcome to my podcast, Inspired, and the people who inspire me. I'm talking to a very interesting gentleman, Bill Thompson, and I'm going to speak to him on various subjects, but the thing that really impressed me is not his outgoing personality, but the fact that he's incredibly disciplined with his exercise regime, and I think we all can take advice and be inspired by it. Bill, I got to give you credit. When did you start your exercise regime?
Oh, exercise. Well, thanks for having me on, Joe. Exercise started about 7-8 years ago, probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
not
soon.
It's not that long. Probably about 7-8 years ago. A little bit overweight, and I kind of looked at life, kind of hitting that midlife area. And one of the things I looked at was the longevity, which is when you get older, things slow down, and so
Fall apart, I would say.
Yeah. And you got to kind of do things, be active to keep things going. So what I started was just trying to get movement, right? Just get exercise, and then start lifting some weights to get some pressure on things. But my overall philosophy is that if you look at yourself later in life, things can work or not work. And if you start now and keep the activity going, you have a higher probability to have more activity later in life.
Well, I think that's right. I grew up in a family where my brother was the big sports hero. And he played football, he played track, he threw the discus for Villanova University. I mean, he was a big-time athlete. And I was not. But my father supported us very well, both brothers. I was more creative and he was more athletic. And I started exercising when I was 15.
Yeah.
And it served me well because my doctor said to me that the body responds well to exercise. And it serves you well as you get older in life because the body has a memory. And it's easy to bring it back.
Right.
But muscle helps with longevity.
Correct. Yeah.
So I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. So a lot of those. So I played a lot of sports growing up. So I was always athletic and I was always into sports. But the actual weightlifting and trying to get focused on longevity is what really started here 7 or 8 years ago. So when I used to do work when I traveled a lot, and I stopped doing that in 2012. And then at that point, when you're traveling a lot, you're going out, you're entertaining, you're eating, and you're not really focused on your health. And I was probably sleeping 3 hours a night during that time. So, and we were doing startups, so it was a constant go. And it was taking me in a bad place, physically, mentally, a lot of things. So it was after that I was overweight, and I kind of sat back and said, I got to kind of get into a better place.
So what was your epiphany? I mean, you looked in the mirror, or?
Yeah, and then I had some people pass away that I knew, some car accidents and things of that nature. But also the biggest epiphany was my daughter went to school, and I was in China that right before, and I flew home to take her to her first day of school. And we were trying to sell a company, and we were on with the board, and then driving my daughter to school, I turned to my right, and my daughter was 300 yards away from me. And I missed the first day of school, which I tried to come home, and that was a big thing for me. So during middle school, I was not around a lot. And then at that point, that's when I said, we got to stop doing that, and kind of changed.
Wow.
And then we started a consulting company, but that's kind of when my life kind of changed from worrying all about the money, all about running hard, and more into, hey, you should be here for the family, be here for the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting because I commuted to New York from Westport, Connecticut for years. And I used to go on the dawn patrol. And we used to be there at 5:30 and exercise before we started our day. And then I tried to do it on the reverse. And I was part of the 3 martini luncheons group.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did it.
3 turns into 5 real quick.
I just didn't know how I did it. So I was very disciplined to make sure that I got there because I always felt better. So do you now go 3 times a week or 5 times a week?
I'm usually 6 or 7. Yeah,
Yikes.
so it's every morning at 6 a.m.
Are you
6 to
training
8.
for Mr. Olympia?
No,
or is
I just, it's just an overall. I just have a belief that if you stay in motion, body in motion stays in motion type of mentality.
Well, do you devote like one day to legs, one day?
Yeah, I just do the push-pull type of mentality. One day chest, right? One day back, one day shoulders, one day's, just kind of.
And you have no home gym?
Had a home gym and then just work out at the club now. So, yeah, it's every morning from 6 to 8. It started with a little bit of cardio. And then just to get the blood flow, and then usually about an hour and a half worth of lifting weights, and then end up with stretching.
Well, I think that is very admirable. It's terrific. But let's talk a little bit about your business. How did you get into it? What was your studies in college?
So it's interesting. I was a marketing and finance major in San Diego State in college, so I was a state kid. And I got an accounting job right when I graduated school in actually Moore Park, just up the street. And we were working on expense reports. And I realized at that point in time, I was not going to be good going into the office every single day. And I was not going to be good at the typical 9-to-5 job. So I actually went to my parents and said, I don't want to do this anymore. And they said, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. And then my next door neighbor was the head pro at a country club. And they had caddies, and I went there and caddied, and then did that for a couple of years. I met a gentleman that had graduated from Pepperdine, and he had just done his MBA on launching a new product, and that product was a company called Zircom, and they made the connectors between a laptop and a network.
Wow.
And it was the first time laptops hooked up to networks. And that was my first job in technology. Yeah.
So you were on the ground floor of a big revolution.
It was, so that was in the 94 time frame. Yeah, 93, 94 time frame. So it was the beginning of technology. Really, email started coming out and things of that nature. Brand new.
So this individual was really a mentor.
He was. I mean, he's amazing. And then after that, there was another company that there was called NetWave. You have Wi-Fi in your house? So he was one of the people that brought out Wi-Fi, and then sold that company. First, Zircom got sold to Intel, and then the NetWave got sold to Cisco, and that's Cisco's Wi-Fi today.
Wow. So you're an entrepreneur.
Wow. I think you fall into things. Entrepreneur is an interesting thing to me. Entrepreneur is someone that's willing to work really hard to try and get something to move forward. Being an entrepreneur is not a fun thing.
No.
It's the only common denominator that I can find in being an entrepreneur is you have to be lucky. Right? Because you can have really good ideas, you can work really hard at it, and it's something that's supposed to be great and it just won't go. And then you can have something that really you don't even understand it, and next thing you know, everyone wants it. So it's really getting lucky.
I call it stamina.
There it is. Yeah. Which stamina usually creates luck.
Well, maybe so.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's luck. And I say no accidents. Everything is pre-planned. You just have to have the intentional fortitude to go along with the pre-planning.
Yeah,
but
have faith.
I say to my kids, listen to the universe, and you'll make the right decision.
I'm a big believer in that as well.
Yeah.
So because I think if you just listen, you kind of can find out where to go.
Where's it all going? I mean, when I think of the fact that we all have these phones, and I run my entire business from this phone, and it's an antique. My grandkids laugh because it's an 8 where it should be an 18. And I just like it because it's been a friend of mine. Where is it all going to go? AI or?
I mean, AI is really where everything is going today, obviously. And then there's some beliefs that you won't even have that cell phone, because in the AI world, it's going to be able to control every one of the applications that you're currently using today. So you won't even have to click on an application. AI will take care of all of that in the future.
Will there be a chip in your brain, or?
There's some people believe that. Yeah. and that's really wherever the money goes and creates the technologies. It's endless to me in regards to where it can go. But AI today is where everything is.
Huh. And how will that affect creativity?
Well, that's always the the big question, right? On what AI is going to be able to do, what AI is given. I mean, to me, AI is really the creation of whatever data that you give it, and then who has control of what data it gets and what believes what's right and wrong for that data.
That's the creativity.
That's right, and that's the big pieces that in all of technology is who makes those decisions, right? And that's the big battle.
Well, I saw a lecture that Anna Wintour, who was editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine, gave at Cambridge University in England. And she said, gone are the days of compartmentalized talents.
Right.
That you really have to do it all yourself or have the intuitiveness to hire where your shortcomings are.
Yeah, and I just believe AI will be the ultimate equalizer, right? Because if you think about information and being able to pull information together and having the ability to go to the library, look it up, and get all of it and bring it in, now it's given to you. Mm-hmm. So you can have any information that you want at any point in time. So it's the great equalizer of information. So it's going to be the management of that information and disbursement of it and being able to use it is going to be the trick.
Where does creativity with the writers, performers?
Right.
What are we going to do with performers?
Yeah, that's the big battle. And I'm not an expert in that realm by any means, but I know that's where a lot of legal is being able to control your identity, right?
Right. Well, you have put together a wonderful, interesting company, but where do you want to go? Now, if you tell me surfing in Malibu.
So to me, it's about quality of life and spending time with the family.
Yes.
Is work as a byproduct of, to me, is making money, and money creates opportunities. So I want to have the opportunities to get experiences with the family. So for me, that's what it's all about.
You have two children, a boy
two
and
kids,
a girl.
Yeah, Reese and Haley. Yeah, they both live in Dallas.
And the reason I have known you is because I was so impressed by the way in which you handle your mother and guide your mother.
Yeah.
But she has 3 sons.
She has 3. I have two brothers. I have an older brother that lives here in town and then another brother that lives in Las Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
But you feel, I always say that a mother and a son have a great relationship. And I would like to say that I had a good relationship with my son. But he always said that Dad never preached to me. He always set an example, and he listened to it. And I would like to think that that's the way you run your life.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Life kind of gives you different challenges along the way, and you kind of adapt to each one of them. And my mom's going through that right now, where my father that just passed here 6 months ago, her whole life is turned upside down. She's trying to find out what the new normal is, which isn't always the easiest thing.
Right.
To do that. So I'm just trying to help her along the way and put things in place to help her try and figure that out.
Right. And I think you're being successful. It's tough.
I hope so. It's because it's not an easy path, to trying to find out, that next step. So she's lost a lot.
Any good advice for being a husband?
Good advice being
I think we could all use that.
Yeah. If you figure that one out, let me know. I think that's trying to keep everybody happy and trying to be amenable and flexible and trying to be open, I guess would be the other one.
Well, someone told me once, a wise man, that the 2 most important words in a successful marriage is yes, dear.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. I mean to me, is being open to different ideas is important, because who I married, I met my wife when she was 21, or when I was 21, she was 19. she's not the same person and I'm not the same
No.
person, right?
No.
So it's really around trying to grow together and to being open to different ideas. So to me is to not just think that my way is the right way. It's more of just trying to be open and listen and adapt to the different things that come in life.
Well, many times young gentlemen will ask me, what's the secret to a long marriage? Because we just celebrated our 58th
Amen.
years, 58
Congratulations.
years. So I say, first of all, have the same religion and political views. I
Yeah.
find that very, very easy.
That can definitely
And
tear.
yet I've seen happy couples that have different
Yeah.
opinions. But I think that that's important. And I also feel that it's important to keep an open mind. And I can remember my wife just when we decided to move cross country, because we lived and raised our children in Connecticut. And I came in and I said, you know, I have this job opportunity in Los Angeles. Are you up for it? She said, when do we leave? And all of her relatives were back east.
Right.
And of course, in teaching that lesson, I've got a daughter that now lives in France because
right.
her husband is French. And when he said he wanted to sell his business and he wanted to retire in France, she said, when do we leave? So now we're without her, which is hard.
It's interesting on that with the kids. You raise the kids, you want to launch them,
Right.
right? And then you launch them and they start being successful. And then, like, we had our kids went away to college, and then now they've gotten jobs in Texas where they went to school. And it's exciting. They're working, they're launched, they're off the payroll, they're doing great. And then you're going, well, wait a second, where am I in that picture, right? And you're starting over again. Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
it's important that, and I think Deanne Lee has taught me a lot as a as a faith advisor. She's not been my financial advisor, but I think I've got to dig a little deeper than.
If you have faith, she could be.
But I think that it's reinventing yourself as you get older, and not losing track of nature, interfacing with people. So important, and I never realized it. There are people that become hermits when, if they could interface with people, humanity, nature.
The breaking of bread is always
absolutely.
That's why I just believe having dinner and breaking bread and talking and having an open conversation. We used to have with our kids. We used to have what we called a good thing, bad thing at dinner, and it was just the idea that you came home. And then every day, let's hear what was good and bad in the day.
Yeah.
Right? And it's because it's always good because it's open communication, but it's always good to have one good thing or one bad thing and kind of, have a whole discussion around it. So.
Well, it's so funny that you mention that, because I just read an article about Jackie Onassis, Kennedy Onassis, and she had bought this piece of property in Martha's Vineyard, and they couldn't sell this piece of property because I guess it was landlocked and
right.
It didn't have much appeal to it. And she saw it as a great retreat where she could be with nature and she could watch the tides coming in and out. And Caroline, who lost her mother and her brother and her father, realized after she was there for 40 years, she inherited the property, that now she's turned it over to a foundation so other people can enjoy this untouched parcel of land and communicate with nature. And it will be that way.
That's a great opportunity there. Yeah.
And I think that was very well put. Anything else that you believe in that you want to share with my audience?
Well, I think you just talked about the faith piece, right? Is in regards to having faith and knowing where you are and being comfortable where you are, and then obviously adjusting to whatever path you're on is really, for me, the most important pieces.
The thing that impresses me the most about you is that you're very outgoing. I don't think you've ever met a stranger.
I'm really like a forced extrovert.
Oh, is that?
I'm an introverted person, but I make sure to put myself out there.
Why?
Yeah. Just my natural tendency would be more of an introvert. Yeah, it's more of an extroverted. I think some people put it together with like there's no effort, right? It doesn't take any energy, and for me it does. It takes me a little more energy. So I would need to go in and rest and.
You fooled me.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You come in and work a room.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
I think that's just important. That's just to me, it's being respectful for everyone in the room. I just think it's an important thing to be able to do, and it's always good to listen and hear what other people have to say.
How do you start the conversation, though?
Oh, I usually just ask questions, say hi. It's amazing if you just say hi to people. People, in my eyes, want to talk. No one wants to sit by themselves.
No.
And everybody has great stories. And it's I always tell our kids, if you go to a party and no one knows you're there, why'd you go?
Right.
Right? I mean, you should engage in it. And you should go out and make sure that you meet people. Otherwise, why go?
What was the message?
So on that, it's to communicate, right? To make sure that people know you're there, to make sure you're engaging, and to make sure you have conversations.
Were you like that as a kid?
I learned that over time. Yeah, I learned that. Those are things that I learned, over the years. Yeah.
Huh.
So I've always been in sales. So I've always been an entrepreneur. You always have to put yourself out there. So, but it's really why you put yourself out and where you go from there.
Ouch. It's collection day, I think, so we hear that in the background. But don't worry, we'll power through. I think it's very interesting for people who are reticent and people who have a tough time finding a conversation,
right,
or where it develops, or how to break the ice,
right,
kind of thing. But I always go back to sales, and my dad was a great salesman, and he taught me that sales leads to everything. And he always said to me, when he learned that I was more of a creative kind of guy, that the most difficult thing to sell is an idea.
Yeah.
And because it's not tangible.
Right.
But when I was working with the networks, I always had to sell ideas.
Right.
And that was tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I never thought of it as being tough.
Well, it's everybody looks at the world in their eyes, so it's a self-centered world that we all live in. It's in whatever we see, and it's hard to get outside of that and then look at a conversation from both sides,
right,
and be able to communicate that idea on how that could be good for everybody versus what's in my little world, right?
Well, I guess it was Will Rogers that said the interesting thing about a Native American is that he will do a circle around you to see what you are looking at.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting and very telling.
I think they call that perspective, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And many people don't do that.
Right.
And I think that I've learned a lot by just inquiring. I've always been curious.
Right.
As a kid, I was curious, and as an adult, I'm curious. And I like to see what people's backgrounds are, or what brought them to this place, and at this age.
Right, and that's why you're good at what you do, right? And
I don't know.
That's the whole thing on perspective and going into a room and being outgoing is actually wanting to hear what people have to say,
right?
And just have a genuine interest, right? And to me, if you're going to go through life, you might as well be engaged.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to follow up with something, Bill, that's so important. In terms of marriage, in terms of family, you had an epiphany when you took your daughter to school.
Yeah.
And a lot of men don't stop and observe what's going on. I think that might have changed your life, did it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that was throughout our whole life, it's been around family and our kids. So for me, work has always been a byproduct of making money. I hate to say it. I think work to me is you need to find something that you enjoy to spend time with. It's not necessarily something you have to love. It'd be great if you could, but if you can find something that you enjoy spending time with that can actually help you find opportunities, and opportunities is the money, and that gives you the opportunity in life. That's the important part. So, to me, I hate to say it, work's always come in second now since that epiphany, and I've always dedicated to it. But the family for me is the first and foremost of the opportunities and where I want to spend my time. And to me, the only thing you have in life is an opportunity to figure out where you want to spend your time.
Yeah.
When you wake up in the morning. So what do I want to do? Where do I want to spend my time? And, you get to make choices is the good news every day of where you want to spend that time.
I think that's where we differ.
Yeah.
Because I was never really one that wanted to make money.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I was driven to what I wanted to do creatively. And then I had to say twice in my life, honey, you got to go to work because I can't afford the mortgage.
Yeah.
And, and my wife, God bless her, took the opportunity. She wanted to see the kids go to school. And then she became a vice president in the design industry, which I was happy for. And then eventually she ran my business and did a great job in doing it because she was better with the dollars and cents than I was. But she always followed my lead.
Right.
And I think that was a wonderful
Well, I think
thing.
that's probably why you have it's a healthier lifestyle, right? And you're more successful with it is because you were doing it just because you genuinely love it, right?
Well, I think a marriage is a corporation. I mean,
100%,
you each have to share in the emotional part of it, and you have to share in the hard facts of living. And it's not always easy.
No.
But there are no mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's all a journey.
And we are
not
where we
a
are.
destination.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
100%,
right.
Amen. We are where we are.
Now, the name of the show is Inspired. And I always like to say, what or whom has inspired you?
Inspiring stuff is I get inspired from my kids a lot of times now is watching them take the opportunities and growing and taking the chances and growing in who they are and where they want to go. That inspires me a lot to see them, right, and watch them.
I have that same feeling with my grandchildren.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that. I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
I've heard that is the one where you can. That's the whole other level.
It's
right?
so incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just wonderful to see where the DNA lands.
Right.
And
the personalities and
exactly
how it comes out and which one looks like you and where that trait came from and all that kind of fun stuff.
Well, it's good because you see them making or approaching the hurdles, and you don't like to reach out and say no, don't do it. Let me save you from this. You like to have them experience it.
Failure is definitely a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people try and fix things and make things better, and that doesn't really help. You have to let people experience what they're supposed to experience.
I always say to my kids and my grandkids, it's like sailing. I don't know if you're a sailor, but you don't go straight to the destination. You tack left and right.
Right.
And many times in a career, you have to take those detours.
Yeah. And the best way to learn how to tack is to try and go directly into the wind.
That's right.
Right? Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah, you'll fail real quick. Yeah.
Bill, thanks so much.
Oh, thanks you, Joe.
It was really great hearing a little more about you.
Yeah.
And I wish you lots of luck.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes.